Hi, boys and girls. Today I'm sitting in Mrs. Palestini's room for guidance. You can see it's kind of a rainy day outside to record our lesson for today. We have been talking about text features. What are text features? Text features could be a title, a heading, items that are bulleted, bold words, captions, diagrams. Anything when you are reading that helps you really explore the text that makes it stand out. Today I want you to find this passage. It says at the top, explore technology. And you can see there are a lot of text features in this passage. So you can pause while you get this out if you need to. The front copy is a little more difficult of a read. The passage behind it is a little bit easier. So if you want to pause the video, you could select which version you would like to read and quietly read it to yourself and notice some of the text features. I see the title, Explore Technology, and it looks kind of like a web page. It looks at the top to me, looks like they tried to copy like an internet browser. I see the computer over here. Computers and the Internet. Articles by John Irvington, January 26, 2014. Today we use computers every day, and we use them for everything. We use them to write letters and look up information. Computers are in our cars, phones, and even our microwaves. It is hard to imagine what we would do without computers. How would we communicate? So have we always had computers? Some say the first computer was the abacus, a counting machine invented 2,500 years ago. But the abacus could only count like a calculator. So there's our first paragraph. Here's a neat text feature, a timeline broken down showing us the stages of 500 BC, the abacus calculator. 1939, the first electric computer. 1971, the first email was sent. 1975, first affordable home computer. 1983, global internet created. And 1994, web surfing begins. So this text feature gives us a title in the box, a timeline that's in bold, and really makes it stick out, tells me that this is important. As I continue to read, it says, the first electric computer was built in 1939, only 79 years ago. These first electric computers were huge. They were as big as a house. Eventually, the technology improved and the computers got smaller. But it was not until 1975 that the first home computer was invented. That was 4 years after the very first email message was sent. The first home computers were used for writing papers, playing simple games, and even counting, just like the ancient abacus. In 1983, the internet was invented. Now computers could talk to each other and share information. In 1994, web surfing began. This let people use their personal computers to learn so much about the world. And at the bottom, it tells me article categories: computer, tech history, communication. So that's where the person found this article. On our right side of the page, it says an education website dedicated to bringing technology to the classroom. Categories. Click here to explore. Computers, robots, experiments, communication, websites, learning games. So the author tried to make this an interesting passage that looks like a web page. I see the title, heading, a timeline, bullets over here, these little dots that break things down for us into simple words, bold text that sticks out telling me that something is important. There are little captions here under our timeline. If you need to rip your page off, like we did before, to have it next to one another while we do the questions, that's fine. Question number 1 says, about text features. What are 3 text features that you see in this passage. So I'm going to put you could make your own, or you could copy the ones that I'm writing down. Headings, timeline, bullets. You can pause the video if you need to. Why are these things important? Well, the headings here tell me, what's this part going to be about? It gives me information. If I wanted to really quickly look something up, sometimes I might just look at different headings to see which paragraph do I want to start at to find that information. So next to headings, how does this text feature help the reader to better understand the text? Headings tell me what information is in this part. Remember, if I go too fast, you can always pause. The timeline. I chose that as a text feature. Why is that important? It tells me in pictures and dates the timeline of technology. I like the timeline because I can see from the very beginning of time to present day. And the last thing I picked were the bullets right here. A bullet is your little circle or star. It's a little mark with just a brief word after it, where you take your items and you bullet them down the side. Why that's important is it shows me quickly some information. And if this was a web page, I could quickly click on these. If this was a real web page and I just wanted to learn about robots, I would take my mouse and click here on this bullet. If I wanted to do websites, I could click here. Question number 4. Color every sentence in the text or in the diagrams in yellow that describe the first electric computers. So I want to go back to my passage here with a yellow crayon, and I want to find every sentence that talks about electric computers. So I don't see anything in the first paragraph, so I have nothing to highlight here. And then I could color on my timeline the first electric computer right here, telling me when the first electric computer was built. Underneath, it tells me it was built in 1939, 70 years ago. They were huge, as big as a house. Eventually, technology improved and the computers got smaller. So I'm going to highlight that beginning part of this paragraph because it talks all about electric computers. How were those old computers different from the computers we use today? Well, if you think about your Chromebook or the fact that I'm using my phone to record this lesson, that's a computer. You're on your Chromebook watching a video, or you're at school using your smartboard. How is that different? Well, I think it's very different from. So I'm going to put it was different in the past because home computers were for writing papers and playing games. And they don't give you a lot of room, but you could even continue your sentence. Remember to add my period at the end. That computers today we use for all sorts of things. When computers were invented, I'm sure they never imagined that today students would be able to be at home learning through a computer, that we can use Google to search any piece of information that we want, to look up a phone number or an address, that we can call right from a cell phone, that we don't just use it to play games or just to write papers. With your blue crayon, color where you would click if you wanted to find out more information about robots. So I want you to go over to the side where you see those bullets. Again, an important text feature. And with your blue crayon, what would you color? Where would you color to click on robots? Right here, robots. That bulleted item, I could just click on that. Okay, then you flip over. We talked about this yesterday as well. Writing 3 questions that you could ask somebody in your classroom about computers. Remember, questions always start with those when, where, how, why, what words. So I could say, what do we use a computer for today? Question mark. Where can you click to find information about learning games? The answer to that would be right here. So as you're thinking of your questions, go back and look at the passage. A when question, you could use your timeline. When was the first home computer invented? Somebody could find the answer in the passage. Okay. So take your time to come up with 3 questions where you could ask a friend or a parent, your teacher, information that you found in this passage. 8, write 1 word that describes the main idea of this text. I know what I'm going to pick. You might pick something else. I picked technology. This passage definitely tells us about technology. It also talks about computers, the timeline of computers, but I picked the word technology because I also saw it here in my title. So it was talking about the different types of computers. Write 1 sentence that tells the main idea of the text. Remember, restate the question. The main idea is, where are you going to find evidence about what the main idea of this passage is? What do you think this whole passage is about? Go ahead and fill what you think in. And remember to end with a period. The sentence that I came up with was, the main idea is about technology and how it has changed from the past to the present, period. You may come up with a different way to word what you think the main idea is. You want to restate the question, have an ending mark, and go back in the passage. What was this whole passage about? And just like yesterday at the bottom, do you think this author wrote the text to explain something, describe something, or answer a question? You can choose and tell why you think they wrote it. So you could use the more difficult passage. You could go back and read the passage that's slightly easier to read. And to remember to keep looking at those text features. Have a great day.